Welcome everyone. Today, I'm honored to have a powerful and much needed conversation with therapist, author, and advocate for Black women's wellness, Oludara Adeeyo. She has dedicated her work to empowering Black women on their self-care journeys. And her latest book, Meditation for a Black Woman, here it goes. 75 mindful reflections to help you stay grounded and find inner peace is a continuation of that mission. Oludara's background is unique. Before becoming a therapist, she was a writer and editor, and she has now authored multiple books dedicated to self-care, affirmations, and mindfulness for Black women. Today, we are going to dive into the importance of meditation, breaking generational trauma, self-love, and taking up space unapologetically. Oludara, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we're going to jump right in because I'm so excited to speak to you. I don't get to talk to a therapist much, so it is a pleasure to sit across you today. I'm going to start off in the beginning of the book. You mentioned in the introduction of the book, we are conditioned by the world to think that our existence is a problem. And as a
Mhm,
result, we think we are the problem. That's
mhm.
such a powerful statement. Can you expand on your thought process and what you meant by this and how that conditioning impacts Black women's mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. As Black women and growing up in this world, especially in the United States,
Mm.
we tend to get all these different messages from people, whether it's people we know directly, the world, society. And what happens a lot is that when we're giving certain messages that are negative about things that we can't control, skin color,
Right.
hair, the way our bodies look.
Mhm.
Um, we can sometimes internalize these messages.
Mhm.
And when you internalize messages, that just means like the narrative around something becomes part of your self image. And your self image is how you view yourself. So now, everything around you is telling you, oh, Black women are this, Black women are that. And now you're like, well, maybe this is true. Maybe this is who I am.
Like
Um,
subconsciously, it's
yes.
like happening there. Yeah.
Yeah. So subconsciously, you're thinking negatively about yourself, and when you begin to think negatively about yourself, you're not going to move through the world with confidence and no self doubt. So it's very important to just break up from all these messages that are being thrown our way as Black women.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good because especially when it comes to marketing and all these things, like it's so
Mhm.
much messaging, especially with social media influence. And it's important for us to like go back and be grounded in the truth and not what is being told to us. So I love that. Um, as we talk about being grounded in the truth, let's discuss meditation as it pertains to our mind, our body, our soul. Can you just talk about how does meditation help that as we think to become grounded and back to the truth of ourselves and not what the world is telling us?
Yeah, absolutely. So meditation, can be an intimidating term if you're not familiar with it, but really, meditation is a mindfulness practice. And by mindfulness, I mean it is a practice that is asking you to quiet the inner critic in your voice. It's asking you to be still. It's asking you to push away judgments you may have about yourself or your thoughts or anything about yourself. And the thing with meditation and why I believe it nurtures the mind, body, and soul is because it's building a connection with these parts of you, and asking you to really just go deeper, asking you to pay attention to yourself, to be curious about yourself, to learn more about yourself. And so, meditation while it has some religious practices use it, meditation is also can be a form of prayer. It can be something, any activity that you do that kind of makes you feel calm and quiets the noise in your head.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, that is so good. I recently visited Bali, and meditation is like a big thing there. But I am a Christian woman, and most people in Bali is Hindu. And so when you said it could be a religious practice, I see how they use it as a religious practice. And but for me, my prayer is like a meditation. It calms my mind, body, and soul. When distractions and stuff comes, my prayer is like my meditation. And I love the concept of meditation and what it's doing. So love it, love it, love it. And I do believe it is good for our minds to calm it, our soul that's connected, and all that great, wonderful things that it does for us. So
Mhm.
I want to switch into a very popular topic that most people love to talk about. As it pertains to our meditation practices. And those terms are self-love and self-care. I think people oftentimes think they're the same things. And people hear the words often. But from your perspective, what do they truly mean for Black women, and why are they essential to our well-being?
Well, that's interesting that self-love and self-care aren't necessarily the same thing, because I would argue that I think they are. I think that if you practice self-care, like ultimately you are also practicing self-love, and they can be interchangeable. And so for me, like self-care, especially for Black women, is really taking care of yourself before anyone else or anything, not putting anyone else or anything above yourself. And I believe that, especially for Black women in the generations and our history, no matter where we come from, we have experienced levels of dehumanization. And for my work, a lot of work that I do through the books and also as a therapist is trying to help Black women humanize themselves again. And the way we humanize ourselves is by practicing self love, is by practicing self care, taking care of ourselves, knowing the things we like, knowing what works for us, understanding how to emotionally regulate ourselves so that our nervous system isn't activated all the time when
Yeah.
we're met with things like misogyny or discrimination, and etc.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I once heard it in this way is that self-care is like planting the seed, sort of, and self-love is like the beautiful flowers that blooms out of it, you know? And so, yes, I do think they're pretty much on the same alignment, same things, but it's like you have to plant those self-care seeds in order to get that love, that bloom of that flower. So I love
Yes, I
that.
love that.
I love
I
it.
love that.
And
That.
so, as we talk about self-care, though, I want to shift into emphasizing holding space for accountability, because we can practice the self-care and build ourselves up. But accountability is another term I think that is important for us and our mental health. Sometimes self-care is seen as just, doing what feels good. Yeah, we get it. But accountability is a big part of true healing. How do you balance self-compassion with holding yourself accountable for our personal growth as we, talk about meditation and wanting to grow? Like, what's that accountability piece?
Yeah, when it comes to accountability, especially with like self-care, it's really about, I think, understanding that you're responsible for taking care of yourself. And, while you're not responsible for maybe the things you may experience, the negative things you may experience, you are responsible for making sure you're responsible for your own healing, right? We can't control if we've experienced terrible things, but we can control how we heal from them. And so it's definitely important to be accountable for yourself, to making sure you're doing that work, but also not lean too far into self-judgment. Because, I think as Black women, I think because a lot of us are according to stats in the United States, we are the most educated women. We
Yes.
love to work hard.
Yes.
So, so what may come with that is just being really hard on yourself. And so you have to learn to have compassion with yourself
Mhm.
and let go of feeling the need to even work hard at the self-care, right? The self-care should not feel like this arduous labor. Will
Mhm.
there be times it may feel hard because you may have to deal with things like confronting the honesty of yourself, like
Mhm.
confronting like, oh, something really harmed me. I need to heal from that so I can treat people differently and have better relationships. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. As we talked about holding ourselves accountable and doing the best for ourselves, I want to jump into uh, people pleasing. We're just going to randomly talk about it because we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to self-care, do our self-care so we can self-love, all the things. But many Black women struggle with people pleasing. That could be
Mhm.
us, pleasing our friends, our families, everybody else but ourselves. Where do you think that urge comes from? And what are some practical steps we can take to break free with it? And very practical, because we know in therapy you can go deeper dive into individual stories and backgrounds
Mhm.
about that. But that urge of people pleasing,
Yeah.
yeah.
People pleasing often comes from trauma. To be honest, like a lot of us experience trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And trauma can be little, can be small incidents, but trauma just essentially means that it's something that your mind, your body could not handle. So I would say people pleasing often it comes from people feeling like they need to prove their worth,
Mm-hmm.
and also sometimes it's also can be birthed from wanting to avoid harsh emotions from other people, especially if you grow up in households where maybe you've been yelled at for the littlest things, right? You may now think about, oh, how can I do something a certain way so I don't evoke a certain emotion from someone. But however, doing these type of things builds up this nature to ignore yourself and to put other people first. Now, the best way to combat this is to, I always say, start with safe people,
Mm-hmm.
people who genuinely love you. And this may not be family, not saying that family don't love you, but I'm saying people, yeah, people who you have relationships with who let you be yourself, who when you do things like because you're going to need to create boundaries, learn to say no. You're going to have to yeah,
Saying no.
no, make decisions on your own without consulting other people. And so when I say start with safe people, I mean tell people who love you no, because the people who love you and who love you, and when you tell them no, they're not going to demonize you saying no. They're not going to make you feel bad about it, make you feel guilty. They're going to be like, okay, I understand. Do
Mhm.
what you need to do. You
Yeah.
know, they're going to be very forgiving. And so the more we have experiences that are positive from us setting boundaries, saying no, making decisions for ourselves, the more we're going to be like, okay, this is something that I can do. And you'll lean away from people pleasing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Saying no, and I'm almost like shaken because saying no has been one of my biggest practices,
Um,
especially wanting to please friends and all these things and just wanting to be liked. And so now as an older adult, I'm like, no is the most beautiful word in my vocabulary. It protects me, it keeps me sane and all the things. So saying no, I love
mhm.
it. I love that. Okay, so this is your fourth book. I love this book, y'all, by the way. I went through it, loved it. Um, and what inspired you to focus? So your other books were about self-care, for Black women, affirmations for Black women, a self-care. You even did a coloring book, and now you're meditation. What inspired you to focus on meditation this time?
Yeah. So, a lot of my work is accessible. And because I am a clinical social worker, I do believe in having things accessible and attainable and practical. Um, And so what inspired me was that it just felt like this was one, a continuation of the work I was doing. And also, a lot of my work is inspired by things that I actually do, that I actually use to better my mental health. So, meditation is a part of my life. It looks differently. It's looked differently over the years. I do practice yoga. I do, I did laundry this morning and I had my headphones in and to me that's meditative, right? Like just like in my own zone, clearing my thoughts, listening to music that makes me feel good. And even journaling can be meditative. So with the book, we have I guess I would call it like a self-care activity or a focus for the meditation. And
Yeah.
then there's a quote. And so there are quotes by Black women
Mm,
because and they range from politicians, musicians, artists, teachers, writers, whoever. They range because I think it's so important for Black women to be in a community with each other. I'm very big on community. And also, we can learn from other Black women. And I find quotes to be inspiring, and women who've had different experiences and have achieved such great things. You can learn so much from them. And then the meditations, which is can also be considered an affirmation. And then I also include a reflection. And so I'm very big on reflecting. I'm very big on being curious about yourself, understanding yourself, because I believe when you understand yourself, you move through this world differently. You have more self-confidence. Your self-doubt isn't as strong. You're more aligned with what you're supposed to be doing here on earth. And so I'm very big on reflection. So in the meditations, I offer reflection on the topic and
mhm,
then an action item, how you can continue your reflection, whether it's with journaling or just simply thinking about the questions I'm asking you to ask yourself.
mhm. I love it. I love it. And I love that you mentioned the way that the book is set up because it really is good. There's quotes by all Black women, right? And it is a range and it's beautiful quotes. And then there is a meditation and a reflection. And I love that it has the last thing is how can you take action? Because we can read something, we can meditate on it, but as we go throughout our day, we can really like let it sit and take action on how to do it. So the book is beautifully set up. It's an easy read. I love that it's not difficult. Most times you get a book, it's overwhelming, but beautiful and it's easy, y'all. So I love it. I truly, truly love it. And I've been practicing out of it. So it is beautifully written and beautifully printed. And so thank you so much, Oludara. This book is such a gift. Again, I love it. I love that it's not just about reading, it's about taking action, as you say in a meditation for Black women. This book helped readers build a better relationship with themselves, break free from internalized oppression, develop their own version of a balanced life, take up space, and recognizing their own power. If there's one thing you hope for Black women to take away from this book, what will it be?
That you are the author of your life and
Mm,
that you can create your own life and that you also deserve to spend time with yourself. You
mm,
deserve to take care of yourself. Um, because I know a lot of us may feel like we don't have time for self-care, I don't have time for this, but I want you to take at least 5 minutes a
mm.
day, spend
Yes,
time with yourself, and use my book if you can.
yes, 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 yes. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and for creating this incredible resource. Where can people connect with you to get a copy of this book? Connect with you and to get a copy of the book.
Yeah, so the book is available at all major retailers, major book retailers from Barnes and Noble to Walmart, and also a lot of Black bookstores, large and small, do carry my books. So I always encourage that. And you can also get it on Amazon. It's available. And this book is also available in audio books. So if don't feel, I mean, I encourage you to buy it, but if you have Spotify Premium, I
Uh,
will tell you that you can listen to my book for free. If you have Spotify Premium,
see?
you can listen to the book.
I love it. Just like you said, you were doing laundry this morning with your headphones. You can get it on audio as well too. It's legit, y'all. Go get this book right now. To everyone listening or watching, I hope this conversation has inspired you to prioritize your well-being, embrace meditation as a tool for healing, and take up space unapologetically. If you love this discussion, be sure to check out Meditations for a Black Woman and start your own journey towards your inner peace and self-care. Until next time, stay grounded, protect your peace, and remember, you are not the problem. You are powerful and you deserve to show up fully in this world. Oludara, thank you.